picturing modern data journalists, you're probably imagining people staring at spreadsheets or finding patterns in massive leaked databases.
Right.
But our mission today is unpacking sources that argue the blueprint for all of that was actually drawn up in the 1890s by one woman armed with just a pen and a stack of newspapers, Ida B. Wells.
It is just a phenomenal legacy. And to really understand her drive, we have to look at how early she had to step into the role of a protector for her community. I mean, she was born into slavery, and when she was just 16, a yellow fever epidemic took both her parents.
Right. And instead of letting her 6 younger siblings be split up into foster care, she just, locks in. She studies, passes a teaching exam, and manages to keep her family together.
Exactly. That early act of communal preservation really sets the stage for her entire life. She consistently acted as the shield for those around her, which brings us to 1884.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because she's on a train and she's ordered to move to a segregated car, she flat out refuses, literally bites the conductor who tries to drag her out, sues the railroad, and actually wins a $500 judgment.
Yeah, which was a huge deal at the time.
But then the Tennessee Supreme Court completely reverses it. So I guess my question is, if the legal system completely shuts you down, how do you even fight back? Like, how does a failed lawsuit push her toward the printing press?
That is the critical pivot right there. The courts failed her, so she realized she needed a completely different tool for accountability. She couldn't rely on the legal system to establish the facts. So she decided to establish them herself. And the definitive turning point happens in 1892. 3 of her close friends owned the People's Grocery in Memphis. It was this cooperative black business successfully competing with a white-owned store across the street.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, it's awful. Out of pure economic jealousy, a white mob attacked the store. Her friends were ultimately dragged from jail and lynched.
That is just horrific. But instead of just writing like a fiery opinion piece about the tragedy, she launches a multi-month investigation across the South.
Yes, she does. And what's fascinating here is her methodology. The dominant, accepted narrative at the time claimed that lynchings were spontaneous acts of defense against black men who had committed assault. But Wells didn't just argue against this, she dismantled it with data. To do this, she tabulated statistics directly from mainstream, white-owned newspapers.
Wait, I'm a little confused. If she's trying to expose the violence of white mobs, why on earth would she use the very newspapers owned by the people justifying the violence? Wouldn't those numbers be totally skewed against her?
Well, that is exactly why it was so brilliant. She realized that if she used black sources, white audiences would immediately dismiss them as biased. So she systematically clipped articles from white-owned Southern papers. She tracked the stated reasons for the lynchings in their own words to prove that even the mobs themselves rarely claimed assault was the cause.
Oh, wow. So she essentially built a 19th century version of an open source database using the opposition's own paper trail against them.
By analyzing their own reports for her groundbreaking pamphlet, A Red Record, she mathematically proved that less than 1/3 of lynching victims were even accused of assault. Her empirical research showed the vast majority were killed for economic competition, political organizing, or just perceived social disrespect.
But tabulating data from a desk wasn't always enough to stop the immediate violence. I mean, when the legal system actively works against you, sometimes you have to gather the data from inside the danger zone yourself. Which leads us to Elaine, Arkansas in 1919.
Right. Over 200 black residents were killed by a mob after sharecroppers tried to unionize. And 12 black men, the Elaine 12, were quickly sentenced to death.
And Wells actually travels directly into the danger zone. She disguises herself as a visiting cousin just to infiltrate the state penitentiary in Little Rock.
Yeah, she spends an entire day interviewing these imprisoned men. And she exposes that they were subjected to severe torture, including electric shocks, just to force false confessions. Her direct field research provided the factual foundation that ultimately helped bring about a landmark Supreme Court case.
She was incredibly uncompromising. I mean, she even confronted her own allies, right?
Oh, absolutely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, she valued empirical truth over anyone's comfort. She publicly confronted prominent white leaders like Frances Willard of the temperance movement.
Oh, yeah.
And even her friend Susan B. Anthony for tolerating structural segregation just to appease Southern politicians.
There's this amazing moment during the 1913 women's suffrage procession where national leaders told black suffragists they had to march in the segregated back of the parade. Wells flatly refused.
She wasn't having any of it.
No, she wasn't. Once the march began, she just stepped right out of the crowd and integrated the front of the white Illinois delegation.
This raises an important point about how we view advocacy today, really. Her commitment to data and direct action forced people to look at facts they desperately wanted to ignore.
Which makes her 2020 posthumous Pulitzer Prize incredibly fitting. It proves that uncompromising courage, paired with empirical precision, is just a powerful tool against accepted false narratives.
Well, it really is.
It leaves you with an incredible thought to mull over. If Ida B. Wells could systematically dismantle a nationwide matrix of lies using nothing but handwritten notes and 1890s newspaper clippings, what excuse do we have for being misinformed today?